Good evening, actually good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the regular monthly meeting of the City of Glendale Arts and Culture Commission for February 28 at 2 p.m. at the Glendale City Hall. And with that, let's have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Lee?
Here.
Commissioner Del
Here.
Commissioner Solis?
Here.
Commissioner Wagner?
Here.
Commissioner Kavanian's absent. Chairperson Gregorian?
Here. Thank you.
Report of
Yeah, can you give us a report, please?
Yes, a report of recorder regarding posting of agenda. The agenda for the February 28th meeting was posted on the bulletin board outside City Hall on February 21st, 2008.
Okay, thank you. And next item on the agenda, please.
Introductions and presentations. There are none.
There are none. Next item.
Consent items. The approval of a regular commission meeting minutes from Thursday, January 24th, 2008 at 2 p.m.
Move approval of the minutes.
Second.
Any corrections to the meeting, to the minutes? I actually have a couple. Okay, let me just tell you where the corrections are. Minor corrections, however, corrections. Page 2, 4C. The name of the gentleman is not Arman Sadoyan, it is Aram Sadoyan, A-R-A-M. And same page, business 5A on business agenda, the fifth line, it says, actually it starts from fourth line, it says, she said that the subcommittee should consist of 3 people. Actually, it should be 3 commissioners for less than a quorum. And because actually the subcommittee does include 5 people, which includes the staff member and also the consultant, and 3 commissioner members. So that should be 3 commissioners and not 3 people. And also on page 3, last line, item B, that's what, 4 or 5 should be. It should be 5 rather than 4, last item. And it says the grant application was going before the City Council on February 29th. 29th is tomorrow, and as far as I'm concerned, and I know City Council does not have a meeting tomorrow night. So what's the exact date on that?
Sorry, it's January 29th.
It should be January 29th? Okay. So with those corrections...
Actually...
you have one more? Okay. I finished my corrections, and Commissioner Wagner, please.
On page 4, regarding the Brand Associates meeting, my report, it should say, Commissioner Wagner reported that she attended the meeting of the Brand Associates and learned of the library's meeting with Joan Schaff. S-H-O-F-F.
Mr. Espinoza, was this done? I mean, you are clear of the corrections?
Yes.
Any other corrections? Okay, time to vote.
Commissioner Wagner, would you like to amend your motion to as amended?
Yes, I would like to amend my motion to approve the minutes as amended.
Good. And
Second.
you second that. Okay, great. Time to vote. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lee?
Yes.
Commissioner Del Venecia?
Yes.
Commissioner Solis?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Yes.
Commissioner Kavanian's absent. Chairperson Gregorian?
Yes. Okay, minutes approved unanimously. And the next item on the agenda, please.
Oral communications.
Okay, as we are all aware, the regular attendees especially, this is a time where the public can make comments for not more than 5 minutes, and the commissioners can ask only a question but cannot debate or have any discussion on this issue. I have 2 cards. I will again limit it to 5 minutes or less, and I really appreciate the speakers to respect that. If it's absolutely necessary, I might extend it, but not more than 5 minutes. The first card on the list that I have is Ms. Maggie Jarahian, representing the Armenian Society of Los Angeles.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is, as you heard, Maggie Jarahian. I'm a member of Armenian Society of Los Angeles for the last 30 years. First, on behalf of all the members of Armenian Society, I would like to express our gratitude toward the city of Glendale because you always been supporter of us all the way. So thank you very much for your support.
I was just wondering why.
Okay, Ms. Jarayan, sorry to cut you short. I'll allow some time for you for that, but let's go ahead with it.
So, probably you all know about Armenian Society of Los Angeles, but just a little information. Armenian Society of Los Angeles was established 51 years ago in Hollywood. They started in Hollywood. And in 1978, they moved to Glendale, their own place. They had their own place on Brand Boulevard. And this society, having too many activities for the community, such as Saturday school, we have dancing classes for the adults, not the kids yet, but for the adults. And we have a choir with very nice maestro, under the leadership of Maestro Mikhail Avetisian, which we are very proud of having Mr. Avetisian as our conductor. Mikhail Avetisian, just a little information about Mikhail. He was born in Yerevan, Armenia. He graduated from the Department of Composition and Theory of the Music from the Tchaikovsky Professional School of Music. Mr. Avetisian earned his master's degree under the instruction of Professor Hagop Voskanian and then successfully completed under the guidance of Maestro Ohan Durian, earning the degree of the Doctor of Musical Arts. I would like to bring to your attention that Mr. Avetisian was awarded in 2006 by City of Glendale for his wonderful presentation of Armenian classical and pop music at Alex Theater. Now I am very glad to inform you that Armenian Society of Los Angeles proudly presenting Treasure of Armenian Folk Music on Sunday, March 2nd, 7 p.m. afternoon at Alex Theater. That was our presentation, and we would like to see you all there to enjoy this beautiful program. Bring your friends, family, everybody with you. Thank you very much for your time. If you have any more questions, I believe everybody knows enough about Armenian Society in Glendale because lately we had a lot of quizzes and everything. So,
Would you like me to show a little of the DVD?
I believe you have some, yes, why don't you?
Okay.
Yes.
thank you.
Do you want to tell us a little about the performance? Find the DVD cover.
This is
Oh, okay. But what we're
from the last one.
Yeah, this is from the last concert that was live at the Alex, June 10th, 2005, of Armenian classical and pop music, with Mikhail Avetisian conducting.
Yes.
And it's a really nice little DVD packet here, I have to say. Two CDs.
For everybody.
Oh,
We enjoy that.
very nice, thank you.
This is just a flight. You can just push that. The other side is different.
Look how nice the Alex looks.
Was this private recording or did the Alex? Was this? Did you guys bring a video people in?
This one I bring from the
Let's finish and then we'll... mesela.
Thank you very
Waited
much
2
for
more
sharing that with
seconds.
us.
Let's see if there is any questions from Ms. Jarayan. Any commissioners have any questions?
Just wanted to
Adequate.
say that he's a well-known person to us and in the community as well, but
Actually, Mr. Mikaelian was the recipient of the first Diamond Awards in Achievement in Arts by the City of Glendale, yes.
That was the
And
After this
yeah,
concert.
he has a very good track record with us and an excellent reputation. We really appreciate that work. So your concert is on March 2nd
March 2nd, 7 p.m. at Alex Theater.
at the Alex Theater. Okay,
So
excellent.
we hope you will be.
Yeah, we'll be looking forward to that. Any other questions from Ms. Jarayan? Okay, great. Thank you. Really appreciate your presentation. Thank you. Next speaker I have here, Ms. Alisa Resnick, representing the Brand Library.
Hi, I'm Elisa Resnick. I'm the supervisor at Brand Library, and I'm here to present our events for March 2008.
It's fine with me.
I'm pleased to announce our annual dance series is starting this Sunday, March 2nd at 3 p.m. We'll have 3 different series throughout the month of March. Each performance will include a discussion with the choreographers and dancers, and performances will take place in the Brand Library Art Galleries. A reception for the dancers will follow each performance. On March 2nd, Lineage Dance will perform Beneath the Skin, an exploration of human qualities. Based on the text of Ruth Gedler's The Book of Qualities and accompaniment by the music of Billy Mitchell, the dancers will explore the movement behind our many different human qualities. And the music for that performance will be live. On March 16th, BE Productions opens a door to a world of fantasy and movement that fires the imagination. They will perform In Dark Trees, which introduces a fanciful land where the audience meets elegant bird of paradise, playful corkscrew grass, and wild Venus flytrap, and other characters based on the creature-like portrait of dancers. On March 30th, Kin Dance Company will be performing. Their mission is to promote the art form of contemporary dance theater and to reach a broader audience by providing entertaining and thought-provoking work that many times comment on our political and or social environment. Through their cutting-edge choreography, the company works include various styles and techniques presented in both serious and comical situations. Our LA Opera Talk series continues on Saturday, March 8th at 2 p.m. This is a behind-the-scenes session with LA Opera librarian and administrator Robert Jones. Mr. Jones will discuss what an opera librarian does, which entails preparing all the scores for the conductors, the orchestra, chorus, and soloist. He will explain the preparation, which is usually needed, and he'll have examples of scores. Our music series continues on Saturday, March 15th at 2 p.m., and this will be Women's Lives and Loves, a musical exploration featuring songs and chamber music by Brahms, Debussy, Clara Schumann, Laurie Laitman, Libby Larson, Alan Smith, and Richard Pearson Thomas. And the performers include Diana Tosh, mezzo-soprano, Victoria Kirsch, piano, and Timothy Liu, cello. And finally, Figure and Form is currently still on display and closes March 21st at the Brand Library Art Galleries and features work from Jennifer Anderson, Joshua Blakesley, Mikhail Castagnetti, Samantha Johnson, and Harlan Wintrobe. Their works include printmaking, photography, and cast bronze. And each artist uses their media to uniquely depict the human figure or form in a manner that expresses their interest in human archetypes, transformation, physique, and emotion. And just to point out, this exhibition will be up during the first 2 dance series events, and 2 of Harlan Wintrobe's large bronze pieces will be intermixed with the dancers since they can't be moved. His smaller pieces will be sort of moved to the side, so we'll find out Sunday how that works. All of our events are free and open to the public, and for more information, you can visit our website, brandlibrary.org, or call 818-548-2051. Thank you. And I do have flyers and postcards for all of these events for you.
Okay, great. Any questions from Ms. Resnick?
as usual, wonderful reports.
Thank you. We're kind of busy this year for some reason, but that's good, so
It
come and
shows.
visit us. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. I have no other cards for speakers. Nobody else wants to submit anything. So we close this item and go to the next item on the agenda, please.
Business agenda, considering of changing regular meeting time to third Monday at 7 p.m.
Okay, Ms. Rappaport?
Okay, at the last meeting, there was some discussion, and I believe I was asked to put this on the agenda, that there was some interest from some of the commissioners in having the meeting moved back to an evening time. And I've looked at Channel 6's schedule, I've looked at the council chamber schedule, and the only time that really makes sense consistently for this to happen would be if we switch to the third Monday of the month at 7 p.m. However, if we do that, it's going to be a little tough at this point to find a meeting date in April, to have that meeting date in April, although we could go back to April and have it Thursday at 2 o'clock here. So it's really at this point up to you if you want to stay at Thursday at 2 p.m., the fourth Thursday at 2 p.m., or you want to go to the third Monday at 7 p.m. And I will just say that I did speak to Armand yesterday, who was unable to be here today, and he doesn't really have a preference on which day. I think really either is equally bad for him, or it's equally problematic. So, and as you may or may not know, Commissioner Saunders is no longer a commissioner. So her, weigh-in on this is also is not relevant.
We'll get to that later on. But
yes. Well, I just
any questions on this issue? Yes.
I thought that that neither, as far as April's concerned, that neither Thursday afternoon at 2 or the Monday would work.
Well, the issue with the fourth Thursday in April is that that's April 24th, which is probably not a good day to have a meeting because of the Armenian genocide festivities.
Okay.
So I believe you're right that was.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay.
Or-
Yes, Commissioner.
Not so much questions as musings.
Okay. Comments.
I could do either day most of the time, except when I can't. I realize that in some respects, although I like afternoons, that there will be afternoons in the spring season and afternoons in the fall when I would probably rather go to tennis or cross-country meets, tennis matches or cross-country meets in the afternoon. That hadn't occurred to me before. Mondays, I'm always pressed to get here. I can get here by 7. It's tight because I teach in Pasadena till 6:30 and have to clean up, and so I might be a little late on a regular basis. There are some school events that might interfere, but that's true any time, and that sort of takes priority for me. So.
Yes, Commissioner Saunders. Solis.
It's quite a...
It's a little different.
I pretty much can't do Mondays at all at 7. So, at least for another 3 or 4 months. After that, Mondays would be fine. So that's my only,
Any other comments?
As far as myself, I would prefer the afternoons because I think people who are in the working...
Afternoons or evenings?
Evenings, I'm sorry. 7 o'clocks because if people, our commissioners, are going to be from any kind of a job or work that the way I am, we have a commitment made, so our civic duties usually for me starts after 5, and I would prefer to do that because both commitments are very dear to my heart, but we need to make sure that we take care of it. And I do believe that for other commissioners in the future, because we have system that we have going to have nominations, so appointments, again, that would be an issue because people usually work till that hour. So I would wish to see that we could move it to 7, but we have to see how it works. I'm an administrator, I can juggle it, but my staff and people at that time, they are on site and they might call me. That's why we have to have our calls off and all that. So it's an issue.
Commissioner Lee?
I'm open. I will work my schedule to make it fit.
Wow, wonderful. Good to hear. My question before my comments are, do we know how many bank holidays or public holidays fall into third Monday of every month in a year?
Not off the, I don't think there are very many more. I mean, there had been a few. Maybe you have a calendar? I don't have a calendar with me.
You know, we have, I know 4th of July is not a third Monday, and I know the spring holiday is the last Monday, and Labor Day is the first Monday. But, you know, usually in the first couple of months, we have President's Day, we have,
That was
Martin
an
Luther
issue.
King Day,
January,
etc.
Martin Luther King is closer to the 13th, so I don't, that would be the second, it's typically the second week. President's Day would be the third Monday, so that would be February.
What about Memorial?
Memorial Day is,
To the
Is
very
the
end
that
of
would be the
I think
fourth.
that's
Well,
the last Monday of May.
it's the fourth Monday.
Fourth Monday.
Fourth Monday
It's the
of
fourth
May.
Monday,
Only
so
one.
Memorial Day. So, you know, we might be able to, could we, Eve, if we had, if we wanted to, could we, if we went to Mondays, could we book the Thursday afternoon on those months where there's a Monday holiday, if we really think there's a meeting that's critically important?
Yeah, I see. A lot of it with the schedule is doing it in advance. For instance, Mr. Grant, though, has a yearly calendar of the city holidays, and actually in this year, only January and February would impact the third Mondays. Otherwise, there's a fourth Monday, but we don't care about that. Yeah, that's the only one for the rest of the year. That there's a holiday.
So usually, it's safe to assume that if we continue every year, the January and February Mondays might be critical.
Yeah, but on the other hand, staying with the fourth Thursday, we always have the November-December issue. And, you know, what we did was have one meeting in early December, so we could actually plan to have one January-February meeting, let's say the first Monday of February or something, you know, to compensate for that.
That's true. We can do that.
Yeah.
However, you know, losing February and November, December to one, and January and February to one. So we will practically have two meetings for 4 months.
No,
That's-
but we wouldn't necessarily now lose November and December because the third Monday, unless everybody's on vacation, it's not Thanksgiving and then it wouldn't be Christmas.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good point.
We
That's a
gain
good point. Yeah, that's a good
We
point.
gain those.
That's
That's
a good
what I
point.
meant, yeah.
Okay. That's a good point.
So, I mean, I think the thing with the schedule is there's a lot of meetings that, like ours, are standard, and then every once in a while there's another meeting like the Civil Service Commission that's somewhat random, that's scheduled. So, for instance, if we know a year in advance, I can probably guarantee, you know, but it's a little harder to do next month.
Of course.
You know, but certainly if we have this kind of consideration in advance, there are holes that we can plug.
Okay. Commissioner Solis?
Well, that being the case, could we, two questions, well, two concerns. If that being the case, could we keep our meetings now and then schedule next year on the Monday, so that way we have?
It's up to you how you want to do this.
What I'm saying is, keep our meetings on the Thursday now, and then next year, start them back on the Monday, so that way we schedule that. It's solid. We can't be bumped. We can't be, because it's been there for a year. As she stated, it's hard for her to book it, you know, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months in advance, because things have already been booked for years.
Oh, but let me clarify, though. Mondays right now at 2 and Thursday at 3 are being held for us.
Okay.
So it's not an issue for now. It's just April's the issue.
One more.
Just 1 month.
One more. Also, well, she's on the phone.
Look, make your comment.
Well, I was wondering what. I mean, I've always wanted the director to be at our meetings. Which meeting is he more likely to attend?
Which one, Arman?
No. George Chapchin.
Oh, I see.
Which meeting is he more likely to attend? A Monday night meeting at 7 or a Thursday meeting at 2?
I can't answer that. And I just, that was Rob, who's representing GTV6, and he really cautioned us and thought it was in our best interest and the schedulers to really set a time and stick with that. You know, and I think frankly for the public, it's better to set a time and stick,
Sure.
I mean, it's been a little confusing already, so. but just-
I do agree with you.
Yeah.
Because besides personal issues, I do believe that for community to be able to come and do presentation, and since we are showcasing, because I had an issue about the timing, and Eve explained, which she was right, that for viewing it, people can tape it or et cetera, or they can go into the thing web. But as far as public coming and having communication with us and showcasing, usually people do work like most of the rest, and then they are more free in the afternoon to do some of this kind of stuff. So.
And I know for a fact that last time, when we changed the meeting to 2 p.m. first time, there were several people who came in believing that it was 7 o'clock, and then they discovered that the meeting was over. So that is an issue. Absolutely right. We better stick to just one schedule that we establish. Yes.
I wonder, we have some of our regular attendees here whose work is arts and who would come either time. I wonder if you have opinions on whether afternoons or evenings work better for art groups who are working and for whom this is part of their work.
Yeah, I'd like to invite Elisa Resnick up, because I think the Brand Library does have a concern.
We have a slight concern, though I don't know if that should impact your decision. Brand Library is closed on Mondays, so none of the full-time staff work. So coming in at 7 p.m., I would be willing to come occasionally, though I do have an evening appointment in Northridge. So I'd be rushing down here, also needing to change my clothes. But I know
What's that appointment?
A hardship.
the other librarians may not want to come in on a Monday night on their day off.
I'm sure we can provide a room for you in the back door to change your clothes.
I had mentioned this to Eve a while ago, so that, it's just there. We could probably maybe get Cindy Cleary to come and make some announcements when none of us can come. We can also encourage the artists to come on their own more often, but I like the Thursday afternoon because it's during my work day. The Thursday evening was, too. I actually work Thursday evening, so
All right.
either one.
Okay, thank you.
How about the Alex people? They have. Sure.
Well, I thank you for both your input, but again, this is a commission decision. So, I'm sure as many people as say they would come Monday evenings, there would be probably same or more who would come Thursday afternoons. So, what do we want to do?
Oh, there's no motion, is there?
No, there is no motion, but that's what I'm basically asking. Does anyone want to make a motion, or you want to discuss this more? Or, I personally haven't said yet. I can do both. I prefer evenings, but thanks God that, my work schedule is flexible enough to be able to arrange it either way. But I want consistency rather than changing and shifting around.
What's my only concern is I really can't do Mondays for like a good. I mean, I can't do Mondays for a good 4 or 5 months. Period. My scheduled appointment is 7 to 9 every Monday, and I mean that's my only thing. I mean it'd be pretty difficult for me to.
Do you know if Commissioner Kevanian has the same problem?
No, he's coming. He's messaged me. He's coming from up there, from San Luis Obispo. I would assume, having just been there and seeing his Thursday, Friday, and Monday class schedule, that the Thursday Monday he'd have to go back early in the morning for a Tuesday class. Like I said, he really had no preference. They're both difficult because he's still coming down. But so I really can't speak for him. All I can say is, I can't do the Mondays. I would think Thursday would be better for him. But like I said, I can't speak on his behalf. He's watching right now on TV, on the internet, so.
Okay, so say hello to him. Okay, let's have a motion. Does anyone want to make a motion?
Well, I would like to move, if possible, to move it to 7 o'clock in the afternoons
On Mondays.
on Mondays. Or any days, but since Monday is the only day open.
It's either Monday 7 p.m. or Thursday 2 p.m. So what's your motion? Again?
I would like to make sure that we could, if possible, to make these meetings on Mondays, 7 p.m.
Third Mondays.
A third Monday of every month, 7 p.m. Thank you.
Any second? No second. So any other motion from any other commissioner?
Well, I guess I'll make a motion just to leave the meeting at its present time and date.
Which is fourth Thursday of every month at 2 p.m., correct? Okay, anybody wanting to second this motion?
I'll second the motion.
Okay.
And although you're looking for a schedule that would continue through the year, well, I wondered about about shifting again. If we considered this item again in the summer, later in the year, when we have more commissioners and when Amador's schedule has changed. I know everybody would like consistency for the whole year, but if one date doesn't work at all for him, and one, I certainly appreciate Arlette's concerns about her need to be at, with the schools. It's a little.
And for me, I was this really just got sprung on me. This not the date. I was actually the one who had a concern about not having an evening time. And so, as much as I would hope the public would still come to our 2 o'clock meeting, it's just not feasible for me to make it on a Monday. Period, for a long time. So that's my only. It's really just a personal issue. I would hate it to affect general community, and see how. We used to have a lot of regulars, and stuff happens, but like I said, that's just my predicament. So.
Any other comments?
My concern was both for personal issues and any other commissioner who might be appointed who is in the working force. Anybody who works, they have to take off from their working time and be here. So that's an issue. Unless we are going to have council members appoint people who are not in the working force, or they are working only for their own jobs or their personal businesses. Otherwise, this is going to cause a conflict to begin with. But the second issue was for public to be present. So in my request, there are 2 issues considered, and I'm not saying that mine is better because I have 2 issues. It's just I want to bring this to the attention of my commissioners and to see what we want to do with this. Because I would like to see more time left open for this, because some of the commissions are things that it's with the business of the city and it's different, and during the daytime it works better. Or some people who work with the city, they can come during their working hours, it's much easier. But for general public, I don't think that would be a convenient time when it's during the work hours.
Okay.
One more to pop in my mind. When we used to have the evening meetings, I remember being frustrated because we wouldn't want to really talk about a certain issue because, it was getting late. We really can't have that issue at 2 o'clock. I mean, how late can it get? And that was a big issue for me. That was the only issue for me when they moved the meeting to 2, was, well, now we can really hash out our discussion because no one's going to be saying it's getting late. But like I said, there's, other than my personal issue, that's the only problem with the dates.
Yes.
Well, with respect to afternoons, however, we have a clear cutoff in the afternoon time, so there's no way we can go late.
Well, it's 3 hours, isn't it?
No, 2 hours.
It's really, we need to be out of here done by 4:45 at the latest.
Yes,
So we really need to, lean towards 4:30 to cut off.
Absolutely. But the point, but before, people would say, it's getting late.
Well,
You know what I mean? That would come out of commissioners' mouths, and, that's really not a good excuse to me. And I don't think, the public, it's getting late, they're too tired to discuss a certain issue. We wouldn't have that problem.
Several issues. Number one, I am really hoping and trying to shorten the length of the meeting regardless of whenever we hold it, because we don't really need long meetings. We need effective and fruitful meetings. And that's what I think we have been doing so far, and I'm going to continue to do it. The second issue is I do not see any of our regulars who used to attend in the evenings and in this past 2 or 3 months, and that is a concern for me. And the third issue is I am not even sure yet, and still, whether and why I'm sorry, let me rephrase it. I'm not still clear why we were forced into this situation when we had our regular meetings at 7 p.m. Thursday evenings. And although this has been discussed and clarified and talked about many, many times, but still it just doesn't sync well with me yet. So my question is there any possibility that the design review board might be shifted to another day or time in any near future or any other? Because obviously we were forced into this situation by a newly created design review board who could have had 2 p.m. or 7 p.m. Monday nights. And I'm just, it has created a very uncomfortable situation with us.
Yeah, my understanding is that I have not heard any discussion at all about changing the design review board time. And again, to remind you that this was a city council decision about the design review board, and it's unfortunate that it impacted us, but that was not the reason to have this decision. It was more about necessary changes they felt needed to be made at the design review board. I have heard no discussion at all about moving, and I would not assume that we can get the fourth Thursday at 7 back.
I don't think so either.
Or any Thursday
I don't think
in
so
the
either,
evening.
but yeah.
Yeah.
However, that is a real concern, and I'm not going to get into that discussion now, and we probably should contact our council members privately and, express our concerns with them if we have any concerns. But right now, this is a situation we are. So, and we have a motion on the table, seconded, and I think we end up being actually no choice but to continue at this time, for Thursday at 2 p.m.
Why?
And because first of all, we have only 2 alternatives available, and one of the alternatives is not convenient for one commissioner, so we definitely are going to lose him for the few months. And the second commissioner is not here yet, so I'm not quite sure. And Eve is checking something. Are you checking something?
No.
Ah, nice. Okay. So I think whatever is the will of the commissioners, we will vote today and we'll continue. But I don't really want to revisit this every now and then and keep on shifting. But if we have to do it, we will do it, and I'll be happy to do that.
Okay, also, one more thing.
Go ahead.
About the vote itself, and when we vote, an abstain equals a no. Let's remember that. So when people abstain, it's not considered a no, but it goes against the motion, correct? I know you're gonna
Abstain
clarify.
doesn't mean no. Abstain means abstain.
But it counts against the motion, so the motion wouldn't pass.
That's true.
That's what I meant. Let me clarify myself. I'm sorry. I saw you.
Abstain means
So
no.
I just want to make that clear. And one more. So if this motion dies, can another motion be brought about? But only 2. Or how many motions can come up?
You can have as many motions as you can have a proper procedure and a final decision.
All right.
So if this motion dies, if anybody else wants to make a motion, we will be doing that. Any other questions or concerns?
I have an issue here. Besides the individual commissioners, which I can understand and respect their situation, having in mind that one of our major things that we do as a commission is that we are showcasing community and art within the public, and one of our means is the public that needs to be here and participate. So that is a major, otherwise I said I can go both ways. I have permission to change my time because I work additional hours here and there. That doesn't matter as much. It's not convenient, but it could be juggled. But the most important part is our duty as a commissioner. Part of it is to have the public here and to do what we do. So if that doesn't work, to me, that is a major issue that we need to make sure that we are taking careful decision on that.
Okay. Commissioner Lee?
My comment would be to maybe we can call special meetings when we know that the community has certain things that they want us to hear about. Maybe we can call extra special meetings instead.
Again, it's a little bit of a scheduling problem, depending on, we can do that on occasion. I don't think it's something we should rely on.
Yes, yes.
Well, personally, this is how I personally feel. I just don't think this is the venue where we showcase. People can. I know a lot of people come here and it's like free advertising. They're on TV, but why not use that Monday night to have an arts and culture sponsored, advertisement where everyone comes up and talks about their event for 10 minutes. I'm not sure, but I just don't feel like this is the time to be showcasing yourself. Like I said, I know it's free time to be on TV and stuff like that, but
Okay, I think we have discussed this issue long enough to come to a vote, and we have several other issues that we need to discuss, so let's try to move on. If there is no burning comment to be made now, let's go for, yes.
Well, I wish we could have it both ways, but, although I agree with Commissioner Derhovanesian about the broader policy and that, making a decision that best serves the community. At the same time, I could easily envision that if we moved at this point to Mondays, that we wouldn't be able to act for lack of a quorum, because it would be without Commissioner Solis, possibly without Commissioner Kavanian. And so, although I want us to get to the right best time for this group to meet, I think that we may have to come to another decision. We may have to make a schedule change later, and that we should be open to that, to look at this again in several months and see in that course of time how the Thursdays have worked. We are certainly having a lot of opportunities to have input with the community this season, and that will continue. So I think I've said all I'll say on this.
Okay, let's go for a vote, but before then, let's also understand that we may not have an April meeting if we stay with
Yes.
Thursday, fourth Thursday.
Okay by me.
And actually, in either case, I believe Commissioner Wagner was right. April right now is a little tough.
Okay, we could...
General.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And could I just clarify, though, Commissioner Wagner, that a quorum is 4.
Yes.
So, and assuming that Geraldine Saunders will be replaced soon, a quorum is 4, not 3. So.
Okay.
And,
But-
if I may, Chairman.
Yes.
Commissioner Solis, I did check with the city attorney a second ago. Our city council has adopted a rule that if there is an abstention, it's not going to count either way, but in case you do have a 2-2 tie, the motion will fail in this case with an abstention.
Yes. Thank you. All right, let's go for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Lee?
Yes.
Commissioner Derhovanesian?
I'm sorry. Let's just clarify it. Let's understand what the motion is so that we know what yes and no means.
The motion
Can
is-
you restate the motion, please?
Keep the regular commission meetings on the fourth Thursday at 2 p.m.
Okay. That's the motion which was seconded, correct? Okay, let's go for the roll call again,
Was
please.
there an amendment?
no, that's it.
Oh, that was- Okay.
Oh, that's it?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Derhovanesian?
No.
Commissioner Solis?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Yes.
Commissioner Kavanian is absent. Chairperson Gregorian?
Yes. Okay, the motion passes 4-1, and it is our policy to have it on the fourth Thursday of every month at 2 p.m. Next item on the agenda, please.
Update on strategic planning effort and approval of VIP list and interview assignments.
I just want to bring to your attention the updated list that you all got at your desk today. And the reason you know this is different than the one in your packet is this one says updated 228 in the corner. I got sign-ups from everyone, and as you all requested, we did put a kind of number column on the far left so we could refer to groups 1, 2, 3, and A, B, and C, rather than, otherwise referring to people. And I guess what we wanted to do today was have you all look at it. Is there anybody that you want to add? Do you want to add anyone else for sign-ups? And then we're looking for a motion to approve it.
Okay. Actually, I don't, I think, I have given you which ones I prefer, but probably I could give it to you or later or now?
Yeah, it might be good to have those now. I mean, if you want to just give me...
Yes, I will be happy to give it to you
Yeah.
now, and also, I don't think there is a problem with maybe 2 commissioners be present at the same time,
Right.
and that probably will be even better, especially if the group is larger. So, if somebody else or initials appear on this list, please don't be discouraged. Yes, Commissioner Solis.
Okay, well, I'm just a little confused. We keep talking about groups, but I see people's names next to individual names. That's the majority are next to individual names. I mean, I see groups like a foundation. You consider that a group. Okay, fine. But for instance, Ahmad and I were under the assumption that the community activists was a group.
Well, it is,
So we would meet with them as a group.
except
Or maybe
that,
in 4s or something, you know what I mean?
right.
I'm just, because you put group, so
Right.
you mean group, that's the community activist group.
Well, I put with a question mark because in my mind, it would be a lot easier to invite everybody to one meeting and
That's what I
do
mean,
that.
yeah.
However, if 3 or 4 of these people can't, then we can also spin them off as individuals.
Sure.
So that was my intention with the way, and
That's
maybe
what-
there
that
was
was
some
what I thought,
confusion
yeah.
about that.
Well, I thought that it was a group.
Right.
So I didn't give you an individual name,
Right.
neither, because I thought, okay, well, you know, I talk to these people fairly often, and Armand knows, so we can do this group.
Well, that's why if you notice that your names are by...
But then I see other names.
No,
That's
I know.
what I'm confused about.
Yeah. Wagner?
Yes, Commissioner Wagner.
I wanted to point out that by sending in my initials on some of those, it wasn't that I went to this, versus someone else. There were, just people I thought, well, I'd be happy to do this if
Sure.
someone else doesn't individually. And I think I see this as a working document. This would be a
Exactly.
starting point, and
Right.
if, for instance, I end up at a meeting and one of the people on this list is there, and I happen to have my form ready, and it's convenient to ask the questions,
Yeah.
Sure, absolutely.
I want us to feel that we don't have a great deal of ownership
Absolutely.
of these conversations. The point is to get them
Done.
I
done.
understand. And, meanwhile, when I was talking to Eve on the phone, I was explaining that I put my name next to the people that I'm they're friends. It's very easy for me. So then you make a choice where you want us, but, it's easy to call and say, hey, we're coming, or come over, or whatever. So that's why that shows, otherwise, 2/3 of the list I'm familiar, I have worked with, I've been in different committees with them, more than 2/3. But some are really close friends, so I could use. And whoever needs me with whichever group, that sounds fine, if I would be able to continue with commission.
Okay. And I believe, too, you starred the ones that were higher priority. You put
is
a
that what
star
the
next
asterisk
to. The asterisk. Yeah.
Means you took care of it.
And I think also, we're not going to do all these people by the next meeting, so maybe at the next meeting, we'll see who we did, and then, we'll add some more. I think it is kind of a fluid.
But don't we make an assignment, sort of? Not right now, but whenever, like...
Yeah, but we're going to have to try and schedule, and,
That's another question for me. So, I do the community activist group. Ahmad and I, we do maybe half of them at one time, half of them another. What is probably during the day is not the best time to do these meetings. These people probably, you know what I mean? So how do we? We're going to be using city space, correct?
Yeah, but we have facilities that are open.
Okay, and then we can use those after 5, after 7, all that. After 5.
Yeah, depending on where it is, but yeah, there's lots of places.
Yeah, any reasonable time, we can
Yeah,
do it
so
over
we're-
the City Hall. And also, what was I going to?
There's a library, there's all
Sure.
kinds of
Yeah.
places.
And also, yes, the intern that we have is going to assist us in organizing and, getting the bookings and making the schedules and all that. So, we'll be well taken care of. Yes, Commissioner Wagner.
For my part, it might be just as easy for me to make some of my contacts just on my own, and I think my plan would be to make sure Eve knows, or
That'd be great.
when, and if there's, in any case where there's somebody else's initials, I would, for instance, if Arlette and I are on the same person, I'd call Arlette and say, hey, do you want to do this together? And I think,
Sounds good.
I think
Sounds
that
great.
however we can communicate to move this along in an easy way, then let's
Yes.
just go for it.
Yes, and we will find out practically what the drawbacks are. So, just 2 little corrections, Eve, if I may, please. Actually, on the last page, we have on Group 10, Priority 2, a lady who I have the highest respect, who is the mayor of Burbank, and is not a resident of Glendale. And I believe that in the subcommittee we said that she probably should not be included in here because she is not a resident of Glendale and all that, if I recall. So I'm not quite sure why her name is still there. Maybe it's an oversight or something?
No. I mean, my understanding from that meeting was that priority 2, it's just not a priority now. We're not really going to worry about that group at all right now. So, if we all have a lot of free time next month, maybe we'll look at that if everybody else is done, but it's...
Yes, I understand. And although, again, I have the highest respect for her, she is the mayor of Burbank.
I get that, yeah.
But the bottom line is, she is not a resident of Glendale, so I thought we decided that we would cross her out.
You can move that
Yes.
then. And
Let's do that. And also, on page 3, where the pink individuals, with the pink highlighted, Miss Dervishian, Helene.
Oh,
Actually, I don't know why she's just there, because she is she is with the California Film Commission.
Right.
And probably it would be good to move her into page 2 with the creative and art providers, where it is highlighted with orange, so that, I think she falls much better into this category.
No
and then
problem.
it is easier to arrange for that. Okay?
No
So
problem.
if we make these 2 changes, there are 2 things that we need to do. First, to approve this list, and second, to start doing the assignments. And also, one important thing, I think it has to be extremely clear both for public and for our commissioners. All members of public, all residents of Glendale are welcome to any of these meetings to make their comments. This is just a list of the recommended, so to speak, leaders of this community. They are not the only leaders. There are so many others, and also the public who is not in inverted commas, into leadership position is more than welcome to attend these meetings and have their concerns, and we might even organize a meeting or 2 with the general public, because their input is also quite important. So I think let's understand that this is not the only individuals that are welcome to these meetings. We will publicize it, and hopefully the public will attend to them.
Can I just remind you, though, we've already done 5 public meetings.
Yes.
Okay? So...
Yes.
Public meetings is...
Well, no, we can't. We may do that. These public meetings that we did, and it's correct, was in conjunction with Alex Theater, and we discussed several issues with the Alex Theater. We did one months ago at the Patrick's Cafe, but if the need arises, we will do those meetings also. So, anyway, what else?
Question. How come Commissioner or Chairperson Gruber, your name is only on one, so you're going to go only to one, or you're going to go to
You just
all?
added a few more.
Trust me, my name is on more than anybody else. So.
Yeah, I was surprised. That's why. It's
Yeah.
like...
And again, anytime I have a chance, I will show up and I will be there. So, yes, Commissioner.
I move approval of the list as is and as will be amended. No,
As will be amended. As amended.
As our
Just-
start.
So pink could become orange, and you
Yes.
amend that.
I don't care about group. I just, if we need to
Colors.
approve this to move forward, I move
Yes,
that we
let's do
approve it.
that.
And-
Second.
I second.
Can I add a little to that, just to say that this is a working list?
Yes.
So
Yes.
make a motion to make this a working list, that it will be modified even by the minute or by the second if needed.
I think that was my intent. I moved that we approve this as a working document.
Very good.
Excellent.
Second.
Okay. Any other discussions on this issue? Let's vote, please.
Yes.
Commissioner Lee,
Yes.
Commissioner Dovanesian,
Yes.
Commissioner Solis,
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner,
Yes.
Commissioner Kavanian's absent, Chairperson Gregorian.
Yes. Okay. This list is approved. Now, do we need to approve the people who want to...
No, that's the list. No.
I think it's inherent that the interview assignments go with the list.
Okay.
I mean, that's my
All
understanding.
right, so we don't really need to... Okay, excellent. Any other issue on this? Any other question? Yes.
I would think that we could refer, as I mentioned earlier, as we conduct the interviews, as we plan them or as they happen, that we let Eve know, and then she can keep track of whatever initials get added in the places that aren't on there now. And
Now, that's fine, and for the other ones, sort of that, let's say, Commissioner Solis's name is next to, let's say, a certain color. Now, does that mean that we still do make appointments with those people, or we don't?
I would say that if somebody, that you would check with
The person that...
if there are shared names, check with the person, but, you know, that they would be planning to do a group lesson and a group meeting, and talk to him.
I think the idea is that we want to do as many group meetings as possible just to save ourselves time and effort. So, for instance, if, you know, Amador and Armand want to try and do that one as a group, let's try to do that as a group. And then if there's 2 or 3 people that can't, and, you know, you guys are willing to pick them up, that's great. But I really think this is a lot of people and this is a lot of time.
So specifically on the community activists, I can take off my name off the list because they're already, both of them there, that's fine. So I would know how I'm scheduling my time.
Well, I would like, yes, except I would like to just leave your name there for now, so if one of them comes available and can't go to the group meeting, then we know that you might be interested in.
Okay.
Yeah, but I wouldn't start there with yours. I would start, you know, with some of the others.
And the blank ones next to the color, that means we can make the arrangements.
Yeah, if you want to do the whole group.
Okay.
See, the colors denote the groups, okay?
I
I'm trying to make this easy, but it's...
No, it is. It is easy, but you know, since they are large groups,
They are,
it's hard
some
to
are
see
large.
that most
Yeah.
of these people, they are in heavy-duty professions and issues, and to get them all
Yeah.
in the same place.
Right.
For district, it's a different story,
Right.
but for community activists, they're all everywhere
Right.
in the city, so.
I guess there's a motion on the table, right?
No,
Oh, I'm sorry, okay. I had an idea, and I think I will do this. I think I'll send a letter to these people and say that we're in the middle of doing a strategic planning process. They were identified as a community leader, and they will be getting a call. And hopefully they'll be able to talk, you know, spend a little time.
That's a very good idea.
Because I think it'll make it a lot easier for you guys. I have this amazing intern now. She can help me get the letters out. And that'll sort of set the stage so you don't have to go back and explain, you know.
Yes, Commissioner Wagner.
Does it make sense to include the survey questions in that for them to think about before we
Yeah, I thought
contact
about
them?
that too. And the other thing is that if they really can't meet, they could just, you know, send them back, so.
I'm
think we
not quite
discussed-
sure. I think we discussed at the subcommittee that it's better if we sit down one-on-one and pose the question to them.
But maybe,
I'm not-
I'm sorry.
I'm not quite sure if sending the questionnaire in advance will help.
Perhaps just a reference, the sorts of questions that will be asked,
Yeah,
to sort
I
of
could say
prime the pump.
generally.
So that when
Yeah.
you call them,
Yes.
they will have thought it.
When do you expect to be able to send this letter if we say, let's do it?
I imagine by next Wednesday, everything will get out. We'll get all the letters out.
So, can I see the letter before it goes out?
Would you like to sign the letter?
Yeah, and I would like to see it first. Not signing it, but
You
seeing
have
it.
to sign it first.
Okay.
And I do agree with Commissioner Wagner, because if somebody calls me and says that they're going to call and have interviews with you, I would prefer to see what they are going to interview me upon, so that makes me very comfortable ahead of time. Naturally, when they come in one-on-one, we might even digress and go to different topics, but it needs to be...
Well, I'll paraphrase it,
Yeah,
and then I
yeah.
think I'll also say that if somebody really can't meet, we'd love to have them fill this out, you know, and to contact me, and I'll send it to them.
So do we want to have a motion on this letter, or it's part of the process?
Part of the process.
Okay, that's fine. Let's go forward. What else? Everything is discussed on this?
Just one thing I want to clarify. The first one, orange and the green, since it's Jolene Wagner and myself, and it's people who are more or less within the district, let's make sure that
We'll communicate.
you will call them.
Yes,
Oh,
we'll,
But I'll follow you on
Okay.
that, okay? So those two are already done, okay? The rest, we'll see how it works.
Okay. Excellent. Next item on the agenda, please.
Approval of Diamond Awards Selection Panel Pool.
Okay, let's see that.
Okay, as I said in the cover memo, that we have this selection panel pool, and what's been our practice is that You all nominate people to the pool. We approve the entire pool, and then people are drawn from the pool to serve as panelists. So I did update the pool, just, because obviously some people aren't in the community anymore or whatever. And I did put some staff recommendations for people I thought, and I listed here, too, people that I thought should be deleted, and I think it should be obvious why. And if you have any questions about that, let me know. So today what we need is any other additions. Nobody got me any in advance, but if you want to give me a few names now, that's fine. And then we can approve the list or not. And if you want to give it a little bit more time, you could bring it back in March, because the applications aren't even due till the end of April, so.
Okay.
Can I make a motion to move it to March? Maybe we can add some more, or...
Table?
I don't think there's a need for a motion. If the commissioners feel that we should move it to
Table
March,
it.
we will table it.
I wish table.
Is that the consensus of the commissioners? Has anybody had a chance to look at this list and maybe... Yes.
I think it would be helpful for us before the next meeting to have a deadline to send any suggestions to Eve, so that when we get our packet, we'll have the list already ready. Can we?
Excellent idea.
Yeah, the second Friday of March, oh, wait, when's our meeting again? Second Friday of March,
Which is when?
I don't know. But that would be a good day, because I know I'll send it out the third week. The agenda packet will go
That
out
would
the
be
third
March
week.
14th.
So I need them by March 14th.
Okay. Shall we all agree that we will send our new recommendations to Eve by March 14th? Okay. Let's table this for March and do whatever we just discussed and move on. Next item, please.
Request for co-sponsorship of 15th anniversary of Atanian Arts Center at Pacific Community Center.
Okay.
The Atanian Arts Center is having its 15th anniversary, which is very exciting, and they've requested from us, as they did 5 years ago, the use of Pacific Community Center, the gym, for an anniversary celebration, and it's also when all the students get an award, and they have an art exhibition, and they have a catered reception and all of that. And we did co-sponsor it last 5 years ago, and this is not a complete deal. They actually paid us about $500. The advantage to the city to co-sponsor this is it brings in about 500 people that wouldn't necessarily know about our services in the facility there. So it's a nice opportunity for us to have an event there, and it certainly works for them because they can't possibly have that many people in their facility. So,
So they will still be paying a fee,
correct,
and the fee was $500.
correct.
What is the normal fee? Is it
I
$500?
don't have that information at this point.
My understanding is, Commissioner Solis, that when a city entity sponsors an event, then the organization that is sponsored gets a preferential rate. I'm not quite sure what the regular rate is, but I somehow feel to believe that the $500 is a preferential rate.
Sure. My only just clarify for me, and just maybe last year, we had someone come to us who wanted to use Pacific Park, and I was against it, and we voted against them, but it was because they were getting it for free. Okay, right? Correct?
That was also not an event, but an ongoing
Okay.
classes.
That's right.
Right.
Yes.
Good point.
Yes.
I think as an ongoing, I have no problem with co-sponsoring this event, and we've done it in the past, but I think it would help us, it would help me to have a clearer understanding of what our criteria is. I mean, I think this is an issue that comes up again and again for the city, and it comes up for the school district. You know, under what circumstances do we co-sponsor an event that is not, that in which we are not intimately related? We're not really,
Or a city event.
I mean, whether it's a city event or in, same kind of, issue that we face as a school district, so that we are consistent and fair in, as this little part of the city in how we.
The city's actually drafting a policy right now, a special event policy, that defines what a co-sponsored event is, what a, I don't know, there's all these different categories. It's meant for really large city events, but I think in practice what'll happen is some of that will be adopted, into some of the smaller events and this and that. In terms of the use of the facility, this is really a Parks Commission responsibility, or, and so really what you're doing essentially is making a recommendation to the Parks Commission and the director, saying that, this is okay by you, and what do they think? Because it's really their purview, because they set the fees in the facilities.
So they could reject it?
They could.
And how often does the city co-sponsor private events?
Very, not a lot.
That's the only thing. I've really never heard of the city co-sponsoring a private event, and I don't know.
What's a private event? I mean, this
something like that. That's a private entity. I mean, are they a nonprofit or for-profit?
No, they're a nonprofit.
I just I haven't heard of it. I mean, maybe there's a school district. I think they might sponsor private events, right? Co-sponsor.
Well, it's not really a private event. I mean, anybody can walk in. Like if there's a reception at the Brand Library, anybody can walk in. We're not going to send somebody away if they walk in and want to be part of it.
Besides, I have a concern also. Now, I know that we need to have a set criteria to see who and how and when and etc. But meanwhile, we are trying to be here sort of again trying to promote artists within the community. We are there to support in whatever possible way we can. I do believe this is something very small, in small proportion, that we can be helpful into promoting art and artists and people who are working in that direction. If we are going to not have that, we don't have community to come, and that's not our business to showcase, it's not our business to sponsor other groups, then what are we really doing?
Yes, Commissioner Wagner.
I think in furtherance of what she said, and also in recognition of our ongoing partnership with the Atanian Art Center, the fact that at that facility they're doing the fountains, done the tile work. I mean, I do see it's not as if it's a group that is removed from us. It is part of our mission to support art groups and particularly given the, although I shared, I expressed the concern about understanding the policy, and I know that the city is working on that policy. That will be helpful. I would rather us go ahead and approve this. I would move that we approve co-sponsoring this event and find out how additionally we might help. Knowing that going forward, it will help us to have more guidelines, but I'm...
Okay, great. Do we know, before we, if there are any further discussions, do we know the date and time of this event?
It's June 8th, which is, now I thought it was a Saturday, but I'm second guessing. I think it's a Sunday.
They usually hold it on Sundays. but-
Sunday.
Okay, it's a June 8th is a Sunday, and I don't have the time, but I believe it was like 2 in the afternoon.
It's sometime usually in the
Yeah,
afternoon.
and
Okay.
certainly I'll make sure you're all invited, as are the elected officials. And
Okay. All right, any discussions on this issue? Yes, Commissioner Solis.
Just for next time, it's just hard for me to vote on something where I don't see what exactly we're doing. Like on paper, we're co-sponsoring it, they're going to get paid $500. But for further, I'd like to see something on paper saying, this is what they're getting when we co-sponsor, this is what they're going to have.
Oh, okay.
Just to,
That's fine.
so it's documented black and white, and, people can't say, well, this happened, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's just for future notes, please.
Okay.
Any other comments? I personally think that the Atanians are probably one of the best art schools in any genre in Glendale. They have a huge follower base. They have a incredible amount of talented young and middle-aged artists, and Mr. Atenian himself is a recipient of the Diamond Awards for the Achievement in Arts in the Lifetime Achievement category. And they have been an excellent partner with us in the past several years. And they have done, as was mentioned before, a lot of art pieces in public art pieces, especially in the Pacific Center, Pacific Community Center. And I'm 100% for sponsoring them and sponsoring similar organizations. I think that's basically our role, really. And with that, if there are no more comments, let's go on a roll call, please.
Commissioner Lee?
Yes.
Commissioner Dovanisian?
Yes?
Commissioner Solis?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Yes.
Commissioner Kavanian is absent. Chairperson Gregorian?
Yes. A very emphatic yes, by the way. So, all right, that's done, and let's go on the next item on the agenda, please.
Reports, Cesar Chavez commemorative event.
I just wanted to let you know that I've been working with a small committee of city staff and a couple community people on pulling together a commemorative event in Cesar Chavez's honor. And it's going to be on Saturday, March 29th, from 12 to 2. And it will be at the Pacific Community Center. And Christina Chavez, who's the granddaughter of Cesar Chavez, is going to speak. And we have a band that's booked called Orquesta Chiringoya, who's actually a Cuban salsa band, but they do a lot of Latin American music from all over, and I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that correctly. There'll be a free carne asada barbecue. There'll be some, opportunity for speakers and that kind of thing. So it should be fun, and it's partly that we're rethinking, the city's rethinking a little bit this event. It's never been on a Saturday before in the afternoon, and it's usually an evening and more of an educational somber event. So this would be a little bit more of a celebration. And the idea is to really celebrate Mr. Chavez's leadership and legacy broadly, and so that's what we're planning to do. So,
Do we have a date and time for this?
yeah, it's Saturday, March 29th, from 12 noon to about 2 p.m. Hopefully out in the plaza, if it doesn't rain. Otherwise, it'll be moved inside.
Also sounds great.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It should be very fun.
So everything is more or less in place, or we are still in a work in progress?
It's more or less in place, but I think there will be a few additions, a little tweaking, but we have to get the poster out.
Okay. Any questions?
Have you put it in the LA Times?
Not yet.
Okay.
I will.
Sure.
That's a good idea, yeah.
Any other questions or comments? This is a great event. I think I'm very much for this, especially for the music, and I'm sure my fellow commissioner is interested in the barbecue also, right?
Oh, stereotype, we're just kidding.
I think it's great.
Could I make a suggestion? We have Emilio Rivas at the district who does a lot of things for different programs that has to do with the Latino culture. He puts together a great dance group, which is a very classical folklorico. He was known for that. He has traveled all over the world. You could invite him also if it works for you, because he might have great ideas and he could help with a lot of decorations and etc. too.
Remedio Rivas, is that what you said?
It is Emilio Rivas.
Oh, Emilio. Oh, I'd love to, I don't know him. I'd love to get his contact information.
And it's, yes, District Intercultural Office. I'll give you the
Intercultural?
number.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, please.
Update on National Endowment for the Arts, the Big Read Grant application.
I just wanted to let you know that the application was turned in on time. We won't hear until the end of April, but we really have some great programs planned. We have to have an opening night kickoff and then also a keynote speaker, and It turns out that Mr. Frank Gladstone is a bit of an expert on the Maltese Falcon and detective novels. And he will actually be giving, he consented to be one of the speakers for the event, I think at the kickoff. Apparently he's done this quite a bit for a long time as part of his animation training, and he actually teaches, too, so I think it'll be really great. And the keynote is going to be by a man named Norman Klein, who's a professor at Cal Arts, and who's written quite extensively about Los Angeles and film noir and all of that. And even though the Maltese Falcon takes place in San Francisco, certainly there's we love our noir in Los Angeles. So I think that'll be really good, and there's some other events. So hopefully we'll get funded. We'll see what happens, but anyway, it's in.
Okay.
Oh, sounds great.
I think it's very exciting. Next item, please.
State of California grant for public art at Metro Loma Affordable Rental Housing Project.
I just wanted to let you know that our friends at Community Development and Housing applied for a State of California grant for public art at the Metro Loma Affordable Rental Housing Project, which is on San Fernando Road. There's one low-income housing unit complex that's been developed, and this will be next door. And so and there's about just under $12,000 that they applied for. It's state money. I did have a preliminary conversation with Peter Zovak, who's the housing administrator, and we're going to just go from there with the funds, but I wanted to let you know, and it's very exciting that we'll actually have some state money to be able to use there. And I'm sorry?
How do we use that? What's the plan on that?
Well, what we're talking about is a requirement of the grant is to have the public art be public, which may sound funny, but you can't have it behind a locked gate where nobody can see it. It's state money. So what we're talking about doing is maybe there is going to be a fence around the whole property, about maybe doing some sort of a treatment on the fence, or even having an artist design the whole fence, depending on, what we can. $12,000 is not a lot of money, but certainly there's some enhancements that could be done. So that's what we're thinking about at this point, because you'll be able to see it if you're inside the complex or if you're outside the complex. So it's definitely public art.
Thank you.
Who is going to be coordinating this, or, deciding on the final?
We really haven't. I'm probably the coordinator for it, but it's a joint effort with Community Development and Housing, and we haven't really gotten that far yet. Like I said, we've had one very preliminary conversation. I just wanted to make you aware of it, and the Housing Authority and it's already been approved by them in terms of just accepting the funds.
Will the City of Glendale and the Housing Authority contribute any funds, or it's just?
They haven't been asked at this point, and I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's a budget set up specifically to do that, but at this point, no one's asked. So.
And this is the same group who developed the other two low-income housing projects, correct?
Well, only one that I know of, but maybe there were
in
two.
the process of the second, actually next to.
This is the second,
Yes.
yeah.
Could I ask, what's the process like? For example, you put an ad and ask artists to come and participate for that amount of money, or they bid for the, how do artists get involved to come and know and do things? Or
it's all project specific. You can do anything from what we call a direct selection, where you literally go to one person and say, you're the one I want. Or you can to doing a national open call where anybody and his brother can apply, and then there's everything in between. You can do a limited call, you can do an invitational. It's all over. It just depends on the funding, the scope, timing. If you need something done next month, you're not going to do a national call. It's that kind of thing. So there are lots of variables.
And on this one, we don't know how it's done?
No. Well, it's really up to staff, I think, to decide what makes the most sense for the project.
Okay, yes, Commissioner Wagner?
I would just say that it's great to have more, the more departments looking for ways to incorporate arts, the better. So
Absolutely, because
it's exciting.
in almost all it's very, very common to have housing, and especially low-income housing, not included in any kind of public art requirement. And in the downtown specific plan, the housing is not included. So really, the fact that the housing department went out on their own and did this, I didn't even know they were doing it, is really wonderful.
Yes, it is
So thank you.
commendable.
If I may make any suggestion, probably a nice mural, ceramic or mosaic mural seen from the street and in a nice prominent place would not be a bad idea, especially if we can, or if this project can commission a local artist to do that. So, I mean, just a suggestion, if you could have it in mind when the right time comes.
Okay, I haven't even seen a plan for
Yeah.
how the space is going to, be and all that yet.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other comments on this? Okay. Next item on the agenda, please.
Report for chairperson on meetings with city officials regarding future of arts and culture in Glendale.
Okay, that comes to me. As we all know, and we have discussed this on this dais many, many times, we need to, we are in the process of actually strategizing and planning our long-term and short-term art strategy. And in addition to that, we probably, all of us feel that we might need to streamline our arts program in the city to a different level. And with that, I have, before I get into that, let's understand that this is only a report. We are not going to discuss or make a decision now. But we will definitely agendize this item in the future. And the reason we will agendize in the future is I'm waiting and I'm hoping that we will have our community forums and group discussions and the strategic planning, completed before we agendize and get a complete decision on what we are going to recommend to the city council. So, having said that, I have met with, I have come up with some ideas on how to kind of concentrate and centralize or reorganize the City of Glendale's arts and culture program so that we can, be more effective and more visible in the community and more effective to kind of take the arts and culture activities in Glendale to a higher level. With that in mind, I have had several discussions with several heads of departments of the City of Glendale, and I have had a discussion with Councilman John Draymond, with City Manager Jim Starbird, with the Assistant City Manager Bob McFall, with the Director of Redevelopment Agency Philip Lansefame, with the Director of Planning Hassan Harani, and with the Director of Parks and Recs George Chapchian. And in a meeting with George Chapchian, Eve was also present, and we discussed, generally what can be done and what my personal feeling is to do it. The good news is that almost everybody that I have talked to is very much in line that, yes, we need to take the arts and culture and the general policies of the city to a different level, to a more visible and better level, and be able to support and help the art community and the artistic activity as much as possible. Obviously, there are different ways, and each department head thinks of differently how they can do it. When you run a big city like the City of Glendale, of course, the city manager is quite concerned about what it's going to cost the community, and what each department head would need to do, or what each department need to do. So basically, we have discussed most of these issues together, and the only thing that I can and I should report now is that there is a general consensus that we need to elevate the arts and culture activity level of the City of Glendale in supporting the arts community to a higher and better level, and hopefully attract more arts and artists and art galleries and artistic activities to Glendale. Details are not specified are not concerned, and hopefully, after we have our strategic planning meetings with the community, this whole thing will come together, and hopefully we will be able to do a practical and viable policy for our long-term planning of arts and culture in Glendale. And I think that would suffice for now. And if you have any questions, just questions, but we cannot debate this or discuss this because it's not a business agenda item. It's not an action item. But if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
I have a question.
Yes, Commissioner Solis.
So, you spoke with all these people, and did you do that on behalf of the commission or as a private citizen?
I did it as the chair of the commission.
That's probably, I mean, that's a problem for me. I mean, because we might have the same ideas, but they're not all the same ideas. When you go and speak on behalf, I mean, I speak in front of council, but I'm a commissioner, but I don't speak on behalf of the commission. When you speak on behalf of the commission, you take a vote saying, I'm going to represent the commission and go speak with these people. We never had a vote. And you stated yourself, a lot of your personal feelings were in there, which are great ideas, you know what I mean? But it's just, it's procedure to me.
Okay, that's fine. That's noted. Thank you. Any other questions?
Well, my point is, I'd appreciate it if any time you're going to speak to city staff or anyone, like you would, you know what I mean? You would.
Yes, I will respond. I will respond to that. But let's have the questions, and I will answer that now. Did you have a question, Commissioner Wagner?
No, I don't have a question at this point.
Okay, good. Thank you. Any other questions?
The details later on it would be discussed, because at this point, all I understood is that you have met with these people and you have discussions, and it's going to be more responsibilities would be given to the commission, I suppose, or the city of Glendale to promote art within the community. Am I right? Is that how it is?
I'm sorry, can you repeat it again? I'm not quite sure if I understood the question.
So basically, your report was that you have met with these people and you have discussed some topics which is going to lead into city of Glendale participating and doing more for art in the community, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you. The details will come out somewhere.
Yes, yes. And the reason, there is nothing secretive about this, but the reason that we are not going to discuss this are two. Number one, because it's not a business action item agenda on the agenda. And number two, because, the issues that we discussed needs to be generally spoken in the commission at the appropriate time. And my personal feeling is that appropriate time is after we have the public and the community leaders' input into this, and then maybe in a whole, when we are strategizing and doing the public forums, after that, when we are going to recommend what needs to be done with the city council, then we can discuss all of this there. If I had discussed most of these ideas prior to these with the commission, several things would have happened. If I did it outside the commission meeting, that would have been a violation of Brown Act, and if I did it inside, then that would be somehow influencing the general strategic planning that we are doing. So I don't really want to influence that. I want to see what the community thinks first before this gets into more kind of a deeper discussion. Yes, Commissioner Wagner.
I guess I just wanted to support the kind of concern. I think the concern that Commissioner Solis expressed about what our roles are as commissioners and how we speak on behalf of the board is a broader question that I think we don't need to discuss at length now, but I think we do need to remind ourselves periodically about when we speak for the group and when we speak as individuals and where those lines cross. It's an issue that on the school board we have to be mindful of, and that it can be a very fine line. So I think I'd just as soon move on with the meeting, but I did want to say that I do appreciate your concern.
one little
So
thing.
I do appreciate that you're concerned too, by the way.
And
So-
believe me, by no means, believe me, if you would come to me and come to the meeting and said, I'm going to go speak on behalf of the commission and we vote, no, you don't have to tell us what you're going to do. I have complete confidence in you. It's just more of a policy and procedure type of thing.
I understand. I want to clarify this issue. My concerns were basically expressed as as a citizen first and as the chair of the commission, and the reason is I cannot really separate the two if I really go to the council or whoever and talk about things that the commission needs. I'm sorry, the arts and culture in Glendale should be. Every time I go out and speak about arts and culture, regardless of how I speak, people will think that this is the chair of the commission who is speaking. So it is a fine line. I note that concern, and I wanted to make sure that I inform my fellow commissioners of this issue, because the important thing is, as you said, it is important that we are all informed, and we do not really want to speak on behalf of the commission if there is no commission policy or commission motion that we need to take action on. So it is a fine line, but it is what it is. Any other comments? Yes.
I mean, I think you're making stuff up. Anything you said at the end, I have no idea what that meant. But like I said, it's just policy. I mean, if you can do whatever you want, but you have to be able to separate that. You have to be able to separate the two.
Okay. Yes, Eve?
My recollection from when we did meet was that you do have a kind of a working paper that you're putting your ideas together on, and I'd like to recommend that maybe that get distributed to the other commissioners, just to give them a sense.
That can be distributed, but and I would be happy to. I think it's very important that commissioners probably a couple of commissioners have already seen this document, but if it's not a public document, it's for discussion only, and I'm not quite sure if that would be a violation of the Brown Act. The only reason that I have held it back from every commissioner is because of the concern of the violation of Brown Act. So I will allow our attorney to...
I think you can distribute it to the other members of this commission, and they can look at your working draft. We understand it's just a working draft with your ideas.
Okay, so it can be done?
And we can
Okay.
stamp it draft and private, and,
It is, it discusses.
sorry, no, we
Okay.
can't stamp it private.
All right. No. Okay, that's fine. I will be happy to let my other commissioners, fellow commissioners, to see what the general idea is, and hopefully we will agendize this on the, maybe in a meeting or two, and we'll move forward with that. Any other concerns about this issue? And I really appreciate your comments, Commissioner Solis. I know exactly where you come from. Okay. Any other issues on this? Let's move on, please.
Commission staff comments.
Commission staff comments. Before we get into that, there was a issue raised last time about the issue of Brown Act, and whether if we are all together in a public meeting, whether that's a violation of Brown Act or how we would do. So our attorney, Michael Grant, and myself and Eve discussed this issue, and he has a couple of clarifications for us. But again, let's not forget, this. You can probably ask a question, but this is not for debate or discussion. And if after his clarification, our commission feels that we need more, we will agendize it for the future meetings.
There's
So,
no need to
Mr. Grant.
question the attorney.
Yeah.
He's got
Mr.
the-
Grant.
Thank you, Chairperson. Just keep in mind, again, since this is, during commission staff comments, my comments are going to have to be very brief, and I'll try and answer it as quickly as I can, a question, but as Chairperson correctly points out, we can't really discuss it too much. The bottom line is, I think that the situation where a majority of you, let's say, for example, 4 of you show up at a public place, a public event, I think that we have to be concerned about and give some consideration to 2 situations which you commonly have. One is the monthly mixer, okay, where you get together and meet people in the community and they talk to you. Generally, you don't have to worry about the Brown Act in that situation where you have a purely social event where you meet and greet somebody, or a ceremonial event where somebody, elected official, maybe, there's a ceremony. But the but is, you have to be careful about if, for example, 4 of you are in that room together, is not discuss, business, that specific business that may come within your jurisdiction as a commission. It's easy, for example, I mean, we can go to a sort of a slippery slope. For example, you're at one of these social mixers, wine and cheese, and you're in an art gallery. And one commissioner says, that's a beautiful piece of art. Another one says, gee, I wish we had, a city gallery. And another one says, what do you think? And another one says, yeah, we'll bring it up next time for on the commission meeting. That is a problem, as opposed to just, talking to the artist saying, what a beautiful piece of art. How did you do that? And so, again, the whole key to that type of a social mixer is where you have a majority, for example, 4 of you, is, to avoid discussing specific business. Now, the other situation you're most likely to encounter would be more of a little bit more formal situation. For example, you have a meeting with the Alex Regional Theater Board or the Glendale Unified School District, in the sense that you might have a written agenda, there might be a few presentations, and then you're going to, discuss with the community or the audience, and again, you have a majority there, okay? In that situation, what staff will do is we will notice, we'll put a post-it notice as required by the Brown Act to let the public know, so that, in that situation where it's a little more formal, it's sounding a little bit more like a public meeting. You have a written agenda, presentations, questions, and it's okay for you to discuss with the audience to have a give and take. But again, the same caution, after you've had that discussion, or, for example, when you're interviewing some of these community members, and let's say you have one group of 2 and another group of 2, and again, you're in maybe in one giant library or one of our parks facilities to do the interviews, just be careful not to get together and start discussing, matters, whether it's you're just sort of polling or caucusing, or whether you're just discussing. That's what you want to avoid in either situation. Again, when you have a majority of you in the same room, so it's okay to have to be in the public and be at one place. We will take care of it if it's another public body, and it could also come up, frankly, in one last situation where a private organization or group, Kiwanis or Homeowners Association, has invited you to, come and talk maybe about arts in Glendale, and a majority of you show up. As long as it's, well publicized, and it's well publicized by this private organization, or, well publicized and it's open to the public, not a problem. You guys can be there and you can, discuss the matter, the local community matter that they want to discuss with you. But again, we have to be careful about gathering and then discussing it among yourselves.
Is that clear?
To 3, it's okay. 2 is fine, but it should not be 4.
Well, again, we're talking about the majority of the commission, and that's what we're mainly talking about. But I mean, I don't want to get real complicated here, but I mean, you could have 2 at the meeting, the 2 of you discuss, and then later on you place a phone call to somebody else. We want to avoid that situation as well. I mean, a sort of a serial meeting.
I know this Brown Act has given me nightmares.
Well, no, there's nothing.
Constantly worried
No,
about
it's just, as you can see, when you have a majority, you want to sort of avoid the situation of discussing business that commonly comes in front of you. But otherwise, you should enjoy yourself at these community mixers and have a good time.
Like that one little thing you said, like we look at the art and say maybe we should something for next meeting. That's the part.
Well, that's the part where you don't want to go towards. Okay, I mean,
That's the part
Yeah,
scares
but it can
me.
happen
People know
very
this.
rapidly.
Because you don't think it's a political decision, you don't think
Right.
it's in a business, but just
Just be aware of it. Just be aware of it.
Okay, Commissioner Wagner?
Right now, there are 5 of us here. In this case, 3 of us, having talked about an issue at a prior time, would be a majority vote.
Well, no, we're talking about the normal majority of the commission.
But
A quorum.
I'm just suggesting that might we err on the side of caution,
Well,
knowing...
you should. I mean,
that-
again, the whole idea is, I mean, it's a better safe practice rather than, even if it's 2 of you, I mean, again, at one of these mixers, rather than talk about commission business, it would be, it would be better to talk about commission business here.
Yes.
Yes, and that's a good point. Err on the side of caution.
Is it clear for everybody?
Crystal.
So we can all be in the same room and discussing, weather and everything else, but anything which is based on our position as a commissioner and our role, we have to be extremely careful.
I believe the easiest would be the British courtesy. Talk about your health and the weather.
That's always safe, and
Nothing else.
it's always safe.
And your pets.
Thank you very much.
Okay, all right, is that it? Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Grant. Okay, any other commissioner or staff comments? Let's start with Commissioner Wagner.
Well, I wish I had a schedule of school events in front of me, but I would encourage viewers to check the GUSD website or go to the school website to find upcoming events. We had, Glendale High had its Unconcert, its annual pop concert last week, which was fabulous. Just so much fun and so much talent. Bye Bye Birdie, which I'm so sorry to say I missed, that was produced at Hoover, had, I guess, great crowds. It was a wonderful, wonderful event. Last night, we went, some of us went to the Bravo Awards at the Biltmore, recognizing, put on by the Music Center, recognizing 3, out of all of L.A. County, 3 of our teachers were recognized at the Bravo Awards last night. Dave Huber for theater arts at Hoover High School, Charlotte Smurthwaite for vocal music at Wilson Middle School, and Lisa Jinks, who was among the finalists for integrating the arts in the classroom. And so we were very proud as a district and as a community to be so well represented. I also wanted to mention that I've had the pleasure of meeting with Arlene Vidor and members of the a group consisting of members of the Adams Hill Homeowners Association and the Tropico Artists Collective, who are have talked with Eve and are working with Dr. Joan Schaaf at the school district to plan an event for the gas station at the Adams Hill Mini Park, Adams Square Mini Park, reuse and recycling of materials, planning to work with the nearby schools, elementary, middle, and high schools, to create an event. And they're looking at May, but we'll pass on more information as it comes forward. But it really it's one of those events where the crossover is so important to me, the work with the city and the work with the school district and the neighborhood. So thank you, Eve, for your help, and I'll keep you posted.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Solis?
I just want to ask if we're ever going to hear about it, or is ever going to be put it back on the agenda about the percent for art?
Yeah, you will.
I'm afraid.
There's some, questions being batted around a little bit. I don't know that nothing's been decided, or nobody's all that clear what the next step is, but it's still moving forward.
So we have until we're just not even worried about it until then, as a commission. We don't have any role, is what I mean.
Well, there's no money, first of all, that's been collected. The DSP is still being tweaked by the City Council and the Planning Department staff. If you look at a month or so ago, the Planning Department came forward and did a large presentation, I believe it was to the agency, about loose ends with the DSP, and they were directed to do this, do that, do this, do that, and come back. I don't believe they've come back yet. So it's just that it's not going to happen next week. We still have a role, and it's just we're not quite there yet. There's a lot of things that they need to still resolve. And the art program, there's some things to resolve. There's just some other things to resolve, too. It's a very large plan, but it is moving forward.
No more comments? By the way, that was one of the issues that we discussed with some of these leaders, and there is no final policy yet, but it will, hopefully, whatever it is, it will be for the best of our city, I'm sure. Commissioner Deravanesian?
And a request. You were making a calendar of events that usually we had that for us, I was marking the ones that I could go, and I checked with my own calendar. If we could have that again. And the next thing is a question and a request, if it's possible, to have it on Channel 6 as they do that scrolling, because I think it's a valuable thing to know how many wonderful events are happening that you or our Commission or Parks and Rec is involved and is aware of and is publicizing, because if the scroll comes down, like even when Anissa was talking, when you see all the events that are happening here and there, if we would have something that could chart and schedule whatever is going on, every now and then when it's scrolled, I think it's a valuable thing for community people also. They could use it, they could find their own things, because it's easier than when we get
Right.
little pieces of that.
Right. Channel 6, unfortunately, can only promote City of Glendale programs, so unless it's direct, like the Brand Library could have all their things on it, that's not a problem. Anything we do with Park or Rec can be on there. But, programs at the Alex, no. So it really has to just be
limited.
City of Glendale programs, yeah.
Even that would be good, to see that,
Yeah.
how much is city producing or is part of.
Yeah, I think most people in the city utilize that, function.
May I ask a question? I know that there is a Channel 15, which is called the Arts Channel, and it's a public channel, and it's,
Glendale Unified.
that's a
Public education.
that's a GUSD, yeah. It's not the Arts channel,
We
because it
do-
usually has a lot of arts.
We try to get a lot of arts on there.
I was wondering if we could utilize that channel, but if that's a GUSD channel, I'm not quite sure.
It is, but I think it is also in collaboration, but because after
Yes.
we do our own broadcasting, the rest of the time, it combines with PBS. So it has the same things that we have on Channel 3. So I don't know what's the cutoff, but there is a collaboration.
I'm not sure either, but I'll,
Is that possible
Find
if
out.
one of you ladies find out and report it back to us?
yes, I'll ask.
Let's do that. Okay, great. Excellent. Any other comments, Commissioner Devanesian?
No, that would be great. I would be grateful for that.
Okay, Commissioner Lee.
Well, I have a few things. The Chinese Chamber of Commerce is hosting and organizing the Chinese New Year Imperial Banquet that's tomorrow night at Empress Pavilion Restaurant in Chinatown. Call the Chinese Chamber of Commerce to make a reservation. The phone number is area code 213-617-0396. Also tonight, if you have time, 6:30 tonight at the City of Glendale Police Community Room, the Councilman Weaver is spearheaded the start of the Korean Chamber of Commerce of Glendale. So if anybody has time to join, we're looking to build an Asian Chamber of Commerce in Glendale. So that's part of Councilman Weaver's dream, which that I am for. Also, the Chinese Chamber will be hosting, along with the Asian Chamber Association, a third annual golf tournament, which will be at the Industry Hills Golf Course. The group was organized to put together strengths in the Asian communities. Last year was hosted by the Japanese community and the Consul General of Japan. This year is going to be hosted by the Consul General of China, along with the Chinese Chamber of Commerce. And that's on May 30th. Thank you.
Will all these chambers of commerce support the arts?
Yes, they do. Like I said, I'm working on trying to build more alliances with the arts, and community-wise, we're looking at encompassing Southern California. That's our goal.
That's great. All right, thank you. Yes, Ms. Rappaport?
Since Commissioner Solis brought up the public art issue, I wanted to just bring your attention to an article that I put on your table that was from the Burbank Leader. It's actually kind of making a little bit of a wave in the arts community because the city of Burbank actually just voted to modify their percent for art ordinance so that part of the developer's money can go to the Burbank Arts Education Foundation. To be honest, I'm not sure this is such a good idea, but I think it's an interesting idea, and a lot of people, certainly my colleagues, are looking at this. So I just wanted to bring it to your attention, because this is the first time I've ever heard of a city doing this.
Would that be that, like, 1% we were talking about?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and the city of Burbank, for a while, actually has had, I don't know what the percentage is, it might be they have a 1% in the downtown, according to this, So what they're saying is that instead of spending all the money on site, the developer can choose to put part of it, to donate part of it to the Burbank Arts Education Foundation. So it's an interesting,
That's something that we could look into and learn from it, so.
yeah,
but
although,
nothing for us yet.
yeah, I'm just saying it's an interesting way to go. Well, I don't know, I think my red flag went up when I saw it. You know, it may turn out to be a wonderful thing, but it certainly is innovative.
Yep.
I thought we talked about it when we had the last, or before that, the retreat we had at the Pacific Center, when we got together and we were talking about that 1%.
Uh-huh.
I think we really got into it, but somehow nothing happened. I don't know.
Well,
That was quite
that's-
preliminary.
Yeah, that
that
was
point.
preliminary, and also, it is not us who decides, actually, but we can make a recommendation, and hopefully in the future, when, again, all this strategic planning gets into more advanced, hopefully we can agendize it and make a recommendation to the City Council. Any other comments? Okay. Did you want to talk about the article on Vertigo, or you want me to talk about that on the Vertigo
If you'd
Monthly?
like to, go ahead.
Okay.
I have some
Okay, let me make some comments. Actually, I was very encouraged to see that this Glendale monthly magazine, which is called the Verdugo Monthly, on their latest issue of March 2008, they have a nice, large feature of one of our friends and supporters, and who owns a gallery in downtown, and who chairs the brand associates. There is a huge article on her, on Ripsime Marashian, the owner of Art Source, and Art Source Fine Gallery at the North Brand Boulevard. And it is very encouraging. So I just wanted to thank Vertigo Monthly Magazine for this and bring it to everybody's attention and to the public's attention. And just congratulate Ripsime to, for making this. So it's very exciting. And she has been a friend of our commission, and she is working with us on many occasions, and she's a very hardworking lady. And we wish her...
Is she the chair for that?
She is the chair of the Brand Associates also, and it's very encouraging. So I want to congratulate her and thank Vertigo Monthly Magazine. In addition to that, some art events that are going on in the city, I want to again reiterate. The Brand Library Art Galleries has this ongoing exhibition of figure and form, which is, it has started February 2nd and it's going to March 21st. So please don't miss that. This is a very interesting exhibition. And then after that, they will start a new dance series at on March 16, again at the Brand Library. And the Brand Library is located at 1601 West Mountain Street in Glendale, for people who may not know. And then the CZG Theater Group, another of our friends who have been here several times, is having a new play. It's called My Thing of Love by Alexandra Gersten, and it's directed by Darian Anthony. And this is going to go from February 29th, tomorrow, through April 5th at the GTC Burbank, which is at 1111B West Olive Avenue in Burbank. And I believe that there is some kind of a sponsorship by the Los Angeles County Arts Commission for them. And I've been to some of their plays. They're really a wonderful theater group. And also, the Armenian Society of Los Angeles, just presented today, is having a concert. It's called Treasures of Armenian Folk Music at Alex Theater on Sunday, March 2nd at 7 p.m. at Alex Theater. And the conductor of that concert is a Diamond Award recipient in the past, Mr. Maestro Michael Avetisian. So I invite the public to go to these events and all the other ones that are in the city to support the arts and make sure that we get the artists supported and enhanced.
Could I ask something? Larks was not mentioned here. Do we have, because it was sent home. Lark is having a major presentation also.
Well, why don't you
I don't
mention
have the
it?
whole details with me, otherwise I would have brought with me. I thought you have it in your pack.
Yeah, well, no, I'm sorry, I don't have the concert with Lark, but I know that they have I think it's March 1st or 2nd, right?
It is at a First Methodist Church, I think, but not in Glendale.
No, it is I think it is in Glendale Presbyterian Church. Anyway,
Presbyterian.
since we don't know the details, but I know that Lark is also having the Elijah
That's the one.
of Mendelssohn, and it's just an incredibly great piece of music. And please follow up. And if you want to call Lark, their phone number is 500-9777. So they will, or is it 500-9997? Again, I don't know that too. Anyway, try both numbers, and you will definitely enjoy this great concert. With that, I don't have any more comments. Any other comments? No. Okay. Next item on the agenda, please.
Written communications? I have none.
Okay. I'm just trying to see if I can find Lark phone number here. Yeah, the Lark phone number is 818-500-9997, in case anybody wants to communicate and get these details of this concert. With that, and no more business to do, let's adjourn the meeting. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. So, not against